verse 6, but we thought it would be acceptable to read this verse again because it was a good place to start. I backed it up a little just so that we could sort of get into the feeling of what this section is about. And it's about Moses' counsel before the heavens, that he saw all things and God showed him all things, and the wonders of the vast plan that he had for the people on the earth, and the things that Moses was to understand. Yes, there's a comment.
I just wanted to welcome Sister Tilly.
Oh, yes. Welcome, Sister Tilly. Yeah, we know you've been traveling a long way, and we hope it was a successful journey and you were blessed abundantly. Thank you. Okay. All right, so we'll continue on here with verse 6, and I'll let Dad read this verse so you can start this one off. And this is the story of Moses before the council of the heavens.
This is rather exciting because this is also, though it's in the Pearl of Great Price, it is section 22 in the...
No, it's not. It's not this one. This is the seal book.
Oh, sorry. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, the call to worship was out of the...
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Go ahead. Okay. Behold, I, Moses, am not pleased with the lack of reverence of this people for my presence and their evil mores as an insult to the Lord, their creator. For up there in the mountain, Jehovah laid his hand upon me and conferred upon me the keys of the dispensation which I should preside over. And he carried me to a very high mountain above the clouds until I came to the city of God, the heavenly Jerusalem.
Very good. Sorry, my voice is giving out a little.
Well, do you want me to continue?
If you were able.
Yes, certainly. It was then that I came to see something so impressive that I, Moses, said, I am trembling with fear, my God. And the Lord said, what you see is Mount Zion, and unto the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, with his thousands of angels round about. And behold, it is given unto you permission to participate in the assembly of the elder sons of God, which is the church of the firstborn of the Father, that is, those who already have their names written in heaven. To you, Moses, it will be permitted to watch God presiding at a universal conference for purposes to determine the reward of the just spirits which have been perfected in the world, and you will see the only begotten Son of the Father, yea, the mediator of the new covenant, through whom you can be perfected.
Yeah, and I guess we'll read this note here on Hebrews at the end of that verse there.
Incidentally, these are exciting readings, though.
Yeah.
Reading the understanding of what Moses saw and took place in doing, and no doubt others of the prophets have been privileged to be witness of this as well at various times.
Yeah, I'll just check that this is the same. I've got the inspired version here, but I'm not sure whether these verses are actually the
King James.
Yeah, I'll just check that.
Okay.
Here we are. It's 12.
And as we go along further, when Darren gets this reading ready, we might invite others who might like to read to share in some of these verses.
Okay, I'll read this. This is Hebrews chapter 12, verses 21 to 24. And so terrible was the sight that Moses said, I exceedingly fear and quake. But ye are come unto Mount Zion, and unto the city of the living God, the heavenly Jerusalem, and to an innumerable company of angels, to the great assembly and church of the firstborn, which are written in heaven, and to God, the judge of all, and to the spirits of just men made perfect, and to Jesus, the mediator of the new covenant, and to the blood of sprinkling, that speaketh better things than that of Abel. Yeah.
Okay.
So that was those.
Yeah, very good. You can see the linking of the experience of Moses confirmed here in the Hebrews reading.
It brings so much clarity when you read those extra little footnotes at the end that have been given in the seal book for our understanding. Yeah, thank you. I'll try this and see on my.
Okay,
You can start looking up these if you can. Yep.
Say
Okay.
welcome to Brother Aaron also.
Oh, welcome, Brother Aaron.
Yeah, good to have you with
Yeah.
us, Brother Aaron. Yep.
We're reading Seal Book of Moses, chapter 17 here, the story of Moses before the Council of the Heavens, and we're up to verse 9, and we're reading all the footnote verses at the bottom that have been given in the Seal Book to get clarity and understanding for us as well. So we'll go through these as we go through, but I'll read verse 9 if my voice holds out. Then it came to pass that on this occasion I, Moses, saw God as one man sees another before his eyes. And God face to face spoke with me, and the glory of God was upon me. Therefore I, Moses, could bear his presence, although at no time did I dare raise my eyes to see his face. Therefore God added, saying, Behold, you, Moses, having the priesthood power of my son, and being in accord with his ordinances, may look directly into my face with your eyes, though no man can see my countenance and remain alive without this priesthood. And that's interesting. That's a very interesting verse. And do we have a comment there?
Brother Darren, I was just going to comment that
Yes.
on the council in heaven, not everybody agrees that there's councils in heaven. And so I just think that these verses are just a wonderful treasure.
Yeah.
That there is no doubt. There is no doubt that there's these councils in heaven, but I know that some people took offense to that when the sealed book came out.
Wow.
But I just think, trying to imagine that these words were sealed for so long, and I think perhaps King Josiah read these, and then of course Lehi, and but only a few people. Imagine, I don't know, I can't say for sure, but these have been unsealed, and perhaps now more people have read it than ever before in history. But this is just amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Brother Bob. Yeah, I was unaware that people were a little bit upset at it, because from my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, this council in heaven was probably before the foundation of the world, on the setting up of and I think in D&C 22, which is Moses chapter 1, Pearl of Great Price, it mentions that he saw some things, and he came across Satan at that time as well, who tried to tempt him away from the Lord. But from what I can understand, this was probably before the foundation of the world, in the setting up of it. If I'm correct, I'm not sure, but that was my understanding anyway. So I don't know how people could get that wrong. If they read D&C 22 or Moses chapter 1 in the Pearl of Great Price, they would get more understanding of this verse. Yes, go ahead. We've got a comment. Yeah.
That's Rex. First, I'd just like to welcome President Melva.
Oh, lovely.
Also, the thoughts about the council in heaven. If you think about it, the instructions for setting up the church, there's hierarchy, there's councils, and we know that what's on earth is a representation of what's in heaven. So it shouldn't come as that much of a shock that there
Yeah.
are councils in heaven. So
Yeah.
that's my thoughts. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I agree too, Brother Rex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, it's amazing that some people know or are offended or sort of not able to comprehend some of the things that God reveals to people. And it's in these scriptures that we get a clearer insight into what God wants us to know and understand. And it's just unusual in my mind anyway, for people to think that they've got the whole idea worked out in their minds. It can't be that way, and therefore it's ridiculed. So, but I've got two readings here, and I'm going to ask Darren to look up Timothy 6:16 because I've got the 67 3b as well as the second one, 22 7b and 7c, but the LDS 67:11 is the one that I'll be reading now. Okay. And it says, but not with the carnal, neither the natural mind, but with the spiritual. For no man has seen God at any time in the flesh, except quickened by the Spirit of God. Neither can any natural man share the presence of God, neither after the carnal mind. Ye are not able to abide the presence of God now, neither the ministering of angels. Wherefore continue in patience until ye are perfected. And that's
that was the first one.
The first reading
in chapter
section
67 of the D&C.
Yeah, 67 D&C.
Yep.
And the second one is 22,
which is Moses 1.
Yep, 7b and c. And I'll read 7b and c. And it says, now for this cause I know that man is nothing, which thing I had never had supposed, but now mine eyes have beheld God, but not mine natural, but my spiritual eyes. For mine natural eyes could not have beheld, for I would have withered and died in his presence. But the glory of God was upon me, and I beheld his face, for I was transfigured before him. Yeah. So that's that reading.
And I've got the 1 Timothy 1 here. I'll just read that, and then we've got a comment that someone's got there. I'll just read this 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 16. Whom no man hath seen nor can see, under whom no man can approach, only he who hath the light and the hope and the immortality dwelling in him. Okay, now we've got a comment.
So there's something special you need to have to be able to see God's face and behold him.
Yeah, and we've got a comment here.
Okay, all right, go ahead, please.
Go ahead.
Yep.
It's Aaron.
Oh, yes, good on you. Thank you.
I thought this might be pretty interesting with what we're talking about with the priesthood and being able to see the face of God, because I was reading out of the teachings of the prophet Joseph Smith on page 180 and 181, in case anyone wants to take note of this and read it for themselves. And the heading says, different degrees of the priesthood of Melchizedek. And it's a really short paragraph. May I read it?
Yes, certainly. Go ahead. Yep.
Okay. Answer to the question, was the priesthood of Melchizedek taken away when Moses died? All priesthood is Melchizedek, but there are different portions or degrees of it. That portion, which brought Moses to speak with God face to face, was taken away, but that which brought the ministry of angels remained. All the prophets had the Melchizedek priesthood and were ordained by God himself. That's it.
Thank you, Brother Aaron. Yeah, that would have been, to take that in and to understand that reading is certainly one that we each need to consider. And
I'll take a look at that.
Yep. Okay.
Just written that down. Yeah. Okay. We'll go ahead here. Did we want to get someone to read?
Is there a volunteer to read this one to save
verse 10?
Our voices? And
looks like Brother Bob.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, verse 10. When you came here, I told you to sit in the place that I prepared for you in the sacred mountain of meeting. And I ordered you to remain seated while my glory passed between the rock of my throne. And behold, I laid my hand upon the cleft of the rock that divided between me and thee, and covered thine eyesight to not see my countenance. And then when I withdrew my hand, and you looked over your shoulder and saw me at a glance behind you, giving you the keys of the administration of my priesthood, for how much my face cannot be seen for lack of this zeal, and I put about thee, that I put about thee.
Wow.
Thank you, brother.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's absolutely amazing what the Lord does in giving the keys to the administration through that way that he did that, passing by.
And these are revelations that we are privileged actually to be able to read, no doubt, because not even previously written by, well, maybe written, but certainly not being available for, those to read who would have the faith to want to know more about the experience of being in a situation with the Almighty God.
Yeah.
And the understanding, when you sort of read all of this, you get the understanding that Jesus is the reason that we can come back into the presence of God. And anyway, we have another comment there.
We do. Go ahead.
It's just me. This verse gets me thinking that Moses was a seer, as described in in regard to Mauricio being taken, put marks on his body, and I'm trying to remember where, but we were told that only one seer can exist on the earth at a time. And of course, we call them prophet, seer, and revelator. It makes me come to believe that the prophets that were contemporary in the Old Testament, I think perhaps was it Isaiah, Jeremiah? I can't think of some of the others. There was obviously some that were living at the same time. They must not have all been called to this highest level of prophet. Wow. Because I think there must have been. I think we used the term lesser prophets, but I don't think it didn't. The term lesser only means that it was their books were shorter, but I think there were must have been degrees of prophets that the Lord called, because even there's numerous references that says, the prophets, the Lord sent many prophets to Jerusalem and to preach to the people, in the time of Lehi. And so the term is used in different ways, but it's probably correct with prophet, but that term seer is what is the highest level of prophet, if I understand it. Thank you.
Yeah, I see it that way too, Brother Bob, that there must have been degrees. We know of, well, my understanding is there were minor prophets, whether that was lesser in their spiritual depth, but certainly it was something that we at least can thank the Lord for, that there were these prophets that did get and relay, and the Lord wanted the things to be written about them. And our call to worship was said that looking at these writings that these prophets were doing, that in our day that they would be taken away, but they would be restored by one like Moses. And of course, we know Mauricio fits the picture there, and he has experienced many of the things which he's never sort of explained completely, and I imagine it wouldn't be easy to describe all the things that you would experience. Anyway, I'll leave it at that.
We've got a comment. I think we had a comment waiting there. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a comment too. This is Tilly here.
Okay.
Working with children all my life, we would sing a song. If you want to be great in God's kingdom, you got to be a servant of all. And that's a very humbling. It's a very humbling thing to know that if we if we want to be great in God's kingdom, we got to be a servant of all. Of course, we are to be humble. Whether we are, whether we're bathroom cleaners or up in the pulpit in the ministry. I just wanted to share that, to be humble and to remember that a great leader needs to be humble and needs to be a servant of all. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you,
Thanks, Sister Tilly. Yeah,
Yeah,
very appropriate comment.
We've got
there. Thank you.
another comment there, have we?
Yeah, this is Rex. I thought Brother Aaron had his hand up. Brother Aaron, did you want to make a comment?
Yes. It has to do with what Brother Bob was saying, and it's in the LDS version of the Doctrine and Covenants, section 107, in case any of you want to read this for yourself, in verses 91 and 92. And I think this relates to the greatest gift of that being a seer, in one sense. And it says, and again, the duty of the president of the office of the high priesthood is to preside over the whole church, and to be like unto Moses. Behold, here is wisdom, yea, to be a seer, a revelator, a translator, and a prophet, having all the gifts of God, which he bestows upon the head of the church.
Right.
And Sister Tilly, thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
That's a verse that it appears, I think, at least once or twice in the sealed book of Moses. And that's something that I've been chewing on for quite a while. So thank you for bringing that to our attention again.
Excellent.
Yeah, thanks for the comment,
Excellent.
Brother
Thank
Aaron.
you,
Yeah.
Aaron. Thank you, Brother Aaron. Thank you, Sister Tilly. We've got another comment here, have we?
Yeah, it's Rex.
Yeah, go ahead.
I remember hearing a comment from the Prophet Mauricio in one of the classes, and I can't say that I fully comprehend all the repercussions of it, but he said that the major prophets are or were called directly by God, and so the lesser or minor prophets would not be called directly
I guess
by God. So,
I see. Right.
and again, I don't fully understand exactly what that means. Does it mean the others, the minors, are called by heavenly beings? And I don't know exactly. So thank you.
Kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
But well, these things, no doubt, as time goes on, we will have more revealed to us on that, and a good thought on that one, Brother Rex. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And just before we move on from this verse, I did want to comment about what the Lord was doing at this time. He not only was showing Moses these things, but he also wanted to give him the keys of the administration of his priesthood to the Melchizedek priesthood at this present time. And the way he does things reminded me of the time when the people were traveling through the parted Red Sea, that under the cloud they were baptized at that time, all those people that went through. So there was more than one thing going on at that time. He was rescuing them, but they were also being baptized as they went through that cloud of the parted sea, which was it brought so much joy to me that the Lord is so wondrous in all the things that he does when he does things. There's more behind it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another volunteer, have we, to read this?
I'd be glad to read.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
For behold, the priesthood does allow man to see God. provided that this man has received the key corresponding to such a privilege, and is a high priest of the sacred order of the only begotten Son, possessing all the keys corresponding to his ministry, which was preordained from before the foundation of the world.
Well, there's a lot to be understood in that one, isn't there? Yeah. And anyway, perhaps if there's no further comments.
I'll read this one if you want.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, this is verse 12. But this mystery, my son Moses, which I make known to you at this time concerning the 144,000 high priests anointed by me on Mount Zion in the heavenly Jerusalem, even before the foundation of the world, chosen among all nations of the earth, from among all times by me, predetermined, beginning with its dispensation, from which my people Israel shall be scattered throughout the four corners of the world.
Wow. There's a lot in this one too.
Yeah.
Any points that anyone sees there that's worthy of note?
And of course, we know that the Yeah, go ahead.
This verse is kind of a little bit confusing when it says, even before the foundation of the world, chosen among all the nations of the earth. So, wait a minute. If the earth wasn't made, how could he choose all these choose them from all the nations of the earth? But I think it speaks to how God works with the spiritual and the physical creations.
Correct.
And so I'm thinking that this was all spiritual, since it wasn't temporal, and that following this, these 144,000 eventually found their ways to among all the nations of the earth. But I mean, I don't know, but it says what it says. Thank you.
Yeah. Go. There's another comment. Go ahead.
I'll be quick. I want to. There have a lot here in these few verses. There's a lot. It made me think of in Genesis inspired version of how the Lord created all things spiritual, and principles of light and that sort of thing. But I wanted to share what it says in the teachings of the prophet Joseph Smith, page 181, and the heading says, "Elements are eternal." And then it says, "The elements are eternal. That which has a beginning will surely have an end. Take a ring, it is without beginning or end. Cut it for a beginning place, and at the same time you have an ending place. A key. Every principle proceeding from God is eternal, and any principle which is not eternal is of the devil. The sun has no beginning or end. The rays which proceed from himself have no bounds, consequently are eternal. So it is with God. If the soul of man had a beginning, it will surely have an end." In the translation, quote, "without form and void," unquote, it should be read empty and desolate. The word created should be formed or organized, unquote. Thank you.
Wow, there's a lot said in that one too,
there
Brother Aaron. And these are quite exciting things when you consider that they're understandings which we hadn't sort of considered in any depth before, and yet the Holy Spirit will give us understanding as we gain more knowledge and as we grow closer in our spiritual development. And I guess that will continue all the time while we work on the earth, that we will be understanding things through scripture like this. And the way that was presented to Brother Aaron is to give us a handle on it, that we can sort of say, yeah, well, I now understand more things than I did before, and but it's still an understanding that perhaps we won't fully understand or know about until we arrive there.
Yeah,
I'll
just comment about this verse as well, because it got me thinking about a verse in Moses 1, which is D&C 22, and I'm reading from Moses 1, verse 29 here. And we were trying to get a hold on how can these people be ordained if the foundation of the world wasn't even made. But it says here in verse 29, when Moses was with God and he was beholding all the things, it says, and he beheld many lands, and each land was called earth, and there were inhabitants of the face thereof. So this is many earths. And it could have been, which foundation of the world was it? That's the question.
These are things
which foundation
that we will understand greater as we walk further along the track that the Lord has given us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyway, just a bit of food for thought.
Okay.
Okay. Therefore, these high priests, remnants of the 12 tribes of Israel, must know this mystery to remain only among those who possess this gift and calling, or among those whom I, the Lord, allow this mystery to be revealed to him through a high priest born in the world of mankind in the similarity of Melchizedek.
Yes,
Yeah.
so that's also indicating the power by which the things would be revealed because of the Melchizedek background.
Yeah.
Or the power
There's
of the Melchizedek
so much
priesthood.
more involved, the understanding of the Melchizedek priest.
Probably as we go on here, I'm realizing how much I don't know,
Yeah.
But this is what the class is about, isn't it? So that we can get a greater feel for the things that God wants us to know, the mysteries that he has, and to have this, sort of understood better is a boost for our own ministry as we give to other people.
Yeah. I didn't want to go too far over time here, Brother Rex. How long do you want to continue? Because I know we were going to do some reading from the Book of Mormon. As we have.
I would say try to finish the class time, with the last hymn and prayer, somewhere around 3 or shortly thereafter.
Okay, righto. We've got a few more minutes to read, and then we'll have to start winding up.
See, this will be ongoing.
We'll continue next time.
There may be changes to some of the formats, but we'll see how we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a little bit.
We'll go as far as we can.
Yeah, this is the whole chapter, but we probably won't get very far, much further. Okay.
And God went on speaking to me, Moses, saying, behold, I am the Lord God Almighty, and infinite is my name, for I am without beginning of days or end of years. And is that not infinite?
I love that.
Yeah,
I love it. It just gets the mind going round and round and round.
Yeah. There are some who think they're on the earth, that walk on the earth, that think they are somebodies and of great importance. But when you come against sayings like that, it makes you feel humble, doesn't it?
Sure does.
Okay. And a volunteer perhaps for this one?
I can read.
Thank you,
Brother Aaron.
Yep.
Okay. Being that you are my son, behold, I am pleased to show thee the works of my hands, but not all, because my works have no end, nor my words, because they never cease. Behold, therefore, that no man shall be able to see all my works without contemplating all my glory, and no man can contemplate all my glory and then remain in the flesh upon the earth.
Wow.
In the flesh upon earth.
Wow.
That puts our own mortal understandings in the right place, doesn't it?
It sure does.
God is still in charge.
Yeah, but I love how he says, my works have no end, nor my words. He never ceases.
Yeah. And yet some say that, you can't add to what the Lord has done. Anyway, any other comments on this verse?
No.
Okay, we'll go on.
Okay. We'll go another 5 minutes.
Yep.
We'll go another 5 minutes, and then
Okay.
we'll have to wind it up. And it came to pass while the voice still spoke, I looked and saw the earth, yea, all of it, and there was not a particle of it which I saw not, discerning it by the Spirit of God. And I have also seen inhabitants, and there was not a single soul that I had not seen, and his number was great, even as countless as the sands of the shore. Wow. You can sort of get that feeling that when God lets you see things through the glory, his glory, that you can see so many things you can't see that
Yeah.
we
So
can
when
understand.
You contemplate
Yeah,
that
contemplate.
Moses probably
Yeah.
saw you and I,
Yeah,
everyone,
yeah,
everybody on this
Mm.
class right now, that Moses saw us at one particular point in time.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Okay.
It's hard to contemplate. You just can't.
You've got to get your mind around it. But as we
Okay.
know, nothing for the Lord is impossible.
Shall we finish with this verse then?
Yes, we'll finish up perhaps
Yeah,
with this
I'll
one.
let you read this. Yeah.
And I saw many lands, and each was called the world, and there were inhabitants on its surface. Then I understood who were the righteous spirits who had been perfected in the heavens. And I was able to understand who were those ancient spirits who made up the church of the firstborn. And I could understand who are the high priests who were ordained by God before the foundation of the world of mankind, and because they have been endowed with knowledge since they are born.
Wow.
So there's a lot of things there that perhaps you need to reread. And he saw many lands, and each was called the world.
Yeah.
And there were many inhabitants
Mm.
on its surface.
That's similar to that reading that I just read before from the.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Any comments on this verse? Go ahead. Yeah.
We're getting organized. Well, what strikes me on this, looking at it from this end, from Earth, and our mortal existence, it says, the righteous spirits who had been perfected in the heavens.
Yeah.
This
Yes,
this
okay.
process of perfection is what I believe we're going through now as
Yeah.
mortals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Through
Okay.
through the atonement of Jesus Christ. Yet, perhaps there was a time where these spirits were finished off or perfected in the heavens. I don't know what to say about it other than just to remember what it said about those righteous spirits that had been. I think that's a reference to the 144,000, perhaps.
I
But-
do too. I think that's right.
Yep.
But I think that was interesting, and it makes sense. How can something eternal be perfected here in mortality? So it makes sense to me. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I think that gives logical understanding.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
once again,
Yeah.
we will grow an understanding
Yeah.
of this verse as time goes along.
Yeah.
We might be able to comprehend more spiritual things as the Lord reveals more through, well, not only his servants, but also in our own experience, that things will be shown to us and we will understand what those things shown actually mean, and that we can take it in, because sometimes things that don't seem to make any reason or sense to us at the moment has a spiritual answer, and it's just that we're not able to comprehend that, and that comes there with each was called the world, many lands.
Yeah.
But we look in the stars in the heaven, we see millions, and we just cannot take it all in. Yeah.
And I also think of the time that the Lord one day with the Lord is 1,000 years. So you got to understand that things are so much different in the spiritual realm. So anyway, we'll finish there today.
Thank you,
Yeah,
everybody,
thank you,
for your
everyone.
comments, and we trust that you may have the opportunity to read the sealed book of Moses, chapter 17, maybe in advance over the next week, and certainly as time goes along, that we can share then your thoughts and see if there are other spiritual insights that you gain from what you read. Thank you.
And I'll leave this screen connected because we've got our hymn now, which
Okay.
is God of Grace.